and welcome to Up the Park, episode 8. Hello, Sean, how are you?
Good, Brendan. How are you doing?
I'm absolutely fantastic. So, what have we been up to this week, Sean?
So this week was a little bit different, obviously, because we didn't have the famous to watch. So we actually took ourselves, firstly, up to Bonnyrigg.
Bonnyrigg.
And sat and watched, stood and watched, on a freezing cold winter night, stood and watched Bonnyrigg Rose versus Vale of Leithen at Bonnyrigg Stadium, which was surprisingly, had about 800 people.
I think it was about 700 and something people
Which
there.
was amazing.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
For a
It was
Lowland
really
League game, anyway.
Really good. And it was actually a half decent game of football as well.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah. Bonnyrigg came away with a win, 2-0. But Vale of Leithen, if anybody keeps up with Lowland League football, are like, I don't even know how many goals they've had passing this season, but they're rock bottom of the table. They've got 1 point, and they were tending to concede between 8 and 10 goals a game.
Yeah.
But recently they've got a new manager in. They brought in a absolute ton of young players. They've got their first point on the board with a draw. Then they got beat 7-1, which was everybody was thinking, oh, they're going back to their old ways. But then they got beat 2-0 off Bonnyrigg.
2-0 off Bonnyrigg, and then at the weekend they got beat 2-1 off
Spartans. To put that into perspective, Bonnyrigg are top of the table by miles, and Spartans I think are third or fourth.
Yeah.
And apparently, because we couldn't make the game to the Vale game on Saturday, but apparently they played really, really well.
Yeah.
And there's because a lot of the players are like 17, 18, 19 years old, which is really good to see actually. Because Vale were when we first started to go watch Vale, there was a lot of older guys and a lot of people you could just see were just there for a game of football. But the younger guys, when we watched them against Bonnyrigg, they played really, really well.
Yeah, they actually looked up for it, didn't they?
They did.
But
They
that
pressed the
new
entire
guy,
game.
the new guy who they brought in was the under-23s Pennycook manager.
Yeah.
So he's brought a lot of players from there to play in the Lowland League. So they seem to be doing a lot better with this new manager and this new team. So hopefully they can keep it up and, try and get a few points and maybe stay up. But, it's going to be a bit damage limitation now. Their goal difference is minus 103. So it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? I think they waited too long.
I think they did. I think when they sacked because they had their old coach and then they sacked him and they brought in another coach and then they sacked him. Now they've got their current coach. I feel the guy in the middle was pointless because they brought him in and even after like 1 or 2 weeks he changed absolutely nothing.
I think he was just given the job because nobody else wanted it at the time.
Yeah, it must. To be fair, you wouldn't want you.
No.
No.
I don't know though because it's a lot better level than some of these other people are playing at. That Grant Sanderson who took the job now from Pennycook under-23s, that's a different level that he's playing now.
How old is he?
He's managing now. 40s, I think he will be.
That's really good for that level as well. You tend to find it's quite older Lowland League players. So, no, I really hope they do well because they're essentially, we live in Galashiels, so our local team is Galashiels.
Yeah.
But I'd say them and Vale are the two that are our local sides. We've not been able to see Gallifreydine this season, but I'd like to go to a game and see what they're like. They're in the same league as Vale, so might get to see them play each other in a derby at some point.
Yeah, I like going to see Vale actually. I like seeing the difference. It was brilliant seeing the difference on Tuesday night.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Huge. It was actually a good game of football because when we went to the first game, Bonnyrigg versus Vale at Vale Stadium, literally every single person was there was just saying how many more than double figures. They're going to reach 10, but then how many more are they going to get? Yeah. And they ended up winning 13-0.
13-0. Yeah.
And then in the second game, the reverse game at Bonnyrigg in front of 800 people, it was only 2-0, and Vale had chances to score.
Yeah.
Which was really strange to see. Because normally it's just 10 at the back and then a goalie.
I don't think Bonnyrigg played fantastic. I think they showed that they are top for a reason. I don't think it was a very good performance by Bonnyrigg. I don't think it was very dominant or anything. So
no, it wasn't. But it was really good. It's good to just get out and see it. The only thing I didn't like is at half time they had no hot food.
None left anyway.
I know.
What do they expect with 750 people?
I don't think they expected 700 people there, to be honest.
There's loads of different things you can get at Bonnyrigg Stadium, though. So you can get like pie and chips. You can get like hot dogs and
burgers
and stuff. It's not just a standard pie.
Yeah, and they've got quite a nice like enclosed sort of little stadium. Yeah, it's really I really liked it because they've got standing bits so you can watch higher and over the people in front of you. We had
I couldn't believe how packed it was.
No, even
to be
because
honest,
where
like-
we were standing, there's essentially a stand, and that whole corner was absolutely full. And they're quite a vocal bunch as well. So when there's something that good happens on the pitch, it's not just loads of people watching. There's applauding. There's people saying. There's people talking about the game, and then even off behind across the pitch, behind the dugouts, loads of people standing
Yeah.
there as well. It was really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
I thought
And
the
it's-
stadium was really nice.
It's not
actually.
too far away either, so anytime they play, it's worth going up.
Yeah.
If you can ever get to Bonnyrigg to watch a game, it's really good. It really is.
I love how all these old junior teams are coming up now, and they're going to be some force. Saying, like, I think in about 10, 15 years' time, we're going to see a massive change to what League One, League Two, maybe Championship football in this country will be like. I think you'll see teams like Kelly Hearts up there. You'll see teams like Bonnyrigg Rose up there.
Well, if you think of Bonnyrigg,
Linlithgow Rose, Trinent Juniors.
Bonnyrigg are pulling in what, £5,000. If they get 700 people at home, it's like $5,000 a game
Yeah,
on just
that's
tickets.
Lowland League tickets.
Exactly, that's Lowland
they're-
League. That's insane.
So
So
the prices will go up.
exactly, they go up a table. You add an extra £2-3 on those tickets, tenner a ticket.
Well, obviously the player, the caliber of player will have to
Yeah.
go up, so you'll have to pay a little bit more. But you know, it's these old junior clubs are well supported. They're probably more supported than some established League One clubs. You know, they'll probably Bonnyrigg will have more fans than Cove Rangers would, or
Yeah,
Stenhousemuir,
because of where
or,
they're situated as well.
Yeah,
It's a lot easier.
but it's a footballing town,
It is a very.
and they support their
It
local
was
team.
really good to see that actually,
know.
because round where we are in the Scottish borders is quite very rugby orientated.
Yeah.
It always has
That's
been.
definitely rugby.
Yeah. So if you go to a rugby game, there's normally a few people there. To travel only half an hour away, and I see like that amount of people at just a little Lowland League game on a Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. aye.
Tuesday on a freezing cold Tuesday night, packed the stadium.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like, but it's good. It's really good.
Really
I think next for us, I want to go and see an East of Scotland Premier side play
To see the level difference.
to see the level, because
Yeah.
we've seen the East of Scotland Division 1 conferences.
That
Hoycroft Albert,
that was
poor.
abysmal.
And then we've seen Lowland League. I want to see East of Scotland Premier. I want
Well,
to see in between.
I went to the Border AM Cup
Yeah.
final, which was Langley versus Greenlaw, and I think that was a semi-decent game, but I think it was only semi-decent because it was on a Astro synthetic pitch,
Aye,
which makes the football look better.
yeah,
So that made it a little bit better, but I feel like if you watched them on a grass pitch, it would be pretty poor.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's even lower. Than,
Yeah,
Oh
that
well,
was-
obviously that's lower than
way
Hoyt.
down. Yeah,
That's amateur. But yeah, I think in the East of Scotland Premier side, maybe like Lithgow Rose or Musselburgh Athletic or Trinent Juniors.
Trent would be good.
Trinent
to go see.
Juniors would be good to go and see. I think Callum Elliott manages them.
He does.
Remember Callum Elliott?
Yeah, I remember Callum Elliott. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be interesting to see.
Callum
Like,
Elliott.
what a player he was!
He was like, he was semi-decent. He was alright.
That's
He's
like
meant
a sort
to be a
of
good coach though.
what? Callum Elliott.
He's
Is
meant to be
it?
a really good coach.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well, Lithgow is Trinent his manager.
Trinent.
isn't he? Yeah. They're actually not bad. Like,
Well, they're top of the East
yeah.
of Scotland
So
Premier.
he's
so-
meant to be a really good coach. I'm sure he learned his trade at actually coaching at Hearts,
All
and
right.
then he took it up and went away and done his own thing.
That's
Like, it's
quite good.
amazing to
He was
see.
manager at Tynecastle before.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
Tynecastle East of Scotland Premier too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what sort of level that would be like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely better than Hibs.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
better than Hibs. I'd much rather go and see Hoyt.
And to be
than
honest,
Hibs.
I'd probably if I had a choice between going to a Scotland game or going to watch Bonnyrigg, I'd watch Bonnyrigg. Because I
Aye,
cannot
yeah.
stand international football. It's just such a dry. I mean, look at it right now. I mean, if I looked at my phone right now, which I will, I can guarantee you, England have put about 10 past San Marino. And like, why is that worth watching? Scotland are winning 2-0. Hey!
No way.
Che Adams.
Hey.
England literally, just looking at my phone now, about a minute ago, 10-0 against
10-0.
San Marino. Right?
But you're going to expect that. San Marino are the
I know, but
worst ranked
It's
nation
so-
in the world.
it's so
In
boring.
the world.
It's so boring. It's boring. I don't want to watch England hammer anybody.
I know, but Scotland are beating Denmark 2-0.
No one's seen that coming.
Big John
Sure.
Suter.
John Suter has scored tonight. John Suter scored the opening goal. I wonder if he's still on the pitch. Oh, I kind of want to take him off now. Just, you've had your time, Rich. Just watch your ankle.
That brings us on to the next piece of news this
Yeah.
week. So,
The topic of the week is going to be
John
John
Suter.
Suter and his will he, won't he contract sign, or will he, won't he leave?
well, I read in the papers the day that Stoke are going to up their
Pursuit.
Their pursuit,
Yeah.
yes, that's the right word. Their pursuit for John Souttar in January because his brother's injured. So they're going to want him
He's
in January.
apparently out for quite a long time as well, Harry.
Yeah.
On Australian duty?
Yes.
Okay, so let's have a look at John Souttar news at the moment and see what the top one is. So 1 day ago is when they started talking about
Yeah, that's what I've seen. Edinburgh
Stoke.
Evening News.
Stoke even mentioned in Football Scotland. Rangers target John Souttar.
Well, he's not going to Rangers, is he?
He's
Come
not
on.
an absolute scumbag. If he'd done that, that would be Judas.
He's not going to Rangers.
That would be Judas movement.
He wouldn't
He's
leave
not going
Hearts
to do
to
that.
the Rangers.
But it seems to, because I think there was Middlesbrough and a couple other teams are in the race, but it
Yeah.
seems that they've all sort of dropped off, and it's all just Stoke. Now, what worries me about that is that I can guarantee his brother's probably also tracking Vincent Mago.
Yeah.
But I'd be okay if he left, but I really want him to leave for some money.
So, if he leaves, would you rather him leave at the end of the season for free or in January for a couple of $100,000?
You'd have to take a couple of hundred, wouldn't you?
Would you?
You'd have to.
Would you not keep him for the rest of the season?
It would be nice because guaranteed if he leaves in January, there's going to be a step down in the defensive, unless we sign someone. There's going to be a step down in how defensively, how we play at the back. Because he's the only ball playing midfield defender we've got, unless you move Moore back. But right now, for me, Moore needs to stay on the right to give Smith a rest.
Yeah.
So Moore's going to have to play there.
Do you know what we could do? Right?
Christoph Berra.
No. Michael Smith moves into centre back.
That could actually be...
He's a ball playing defender.
He's a good passer with the ball.
Aye.
He's a good defender.
See? That's it, right? And then what we do is Joe Savage rings up his counterpart at Bristol City and says, mate, would you like John Souttar? Well, I'll take Taylor Moore off your hands.
Nah.
And then that's a new right wing back. Boom. I should be director of
There you
football.
go.
Hearts.
Good Joe Savage.
Recruitment analyst. That's me. Nah, I don't think... I would much rather... If there's a choice between a couple of $100,000 in January or John Souttar finishing the season with us,
Finish the season.
Finish the season.
I
with
agree
us.
with you on that one. Yeah, you made a really good point there.
I don't think we're going to get millions for him in January because he's only got 6
You'd
months
only
left.
get millions for Souttar if he re-signed a contract.
Yeah.
But he's not. I don't feel like he's gonna. And after scoring for Scotland, coming back, if he comes back for Scotland international duty, still fit, and then plays for Hearts again when we play our next game, it just looks. Coaches watching him and scouts watching him are going to be like, he's able to stay fit. We can definitely take him.
Aye. I really want him to stay, but I honestly think he's too good for us. I think he's too good for the Scottish League. I think he is too good, and it hampers his development. And I know it's like the whole we've kept him on and we've paid his wages for all these years when we've been injured.
We don't also want to be known as the club that held him
Yeah,
back.
you don't want to be that club, and you want, as a Hearts fan, you want the best for the club, but you also want the best for some of the younger players that play for the club. You know, I don't want to see John Souttar play for Hearts for the rest of his career
No,
because he's too good.
I'd love to see him in the Premier League.
I think John Souttar's good enough to play in lower Premier League.
I think
teams.
he's. If you look at the Premier League teams, he would slot straight into the Norwich team because they've got Grant Hanley, and going by Scottish defender wise, John Souttar's twice the defender he is.
But
He's
honestly, I think
Irish.
though, if he wasn't injured, he'd be away by now.
Oh, he'd have left.
He'd be in the English Premier
He
League
would never
by
been
now.
in the Championship with us.
He wouldn't
not
have
at
been.
all, no.
He wouldn't have been anywhere near us. You know, he'd been gone after 2 seasons. He's too good. You see it when he's playing, how good he is.
He's
at
just.
defending.
You can just tell
He's a different level.
he's a level ahead of the
Yeah.
rest of them. The only player that I think that sort of level with him at the moment, and that's purely based on his experience, is Kingsley. Because Kingsley's got the Hull experience and the experience of the Premier League and the experience of the Championship. He's brought that with him. But Kingsley's now at that stage where he's like, where am I going to settle for the next couple of seasons?
he's getting on a bit.
Souttar's the opposite. He's like, where do I want to go?
Yeah.
What do I want to do? I don't personally think Stoke's a good move for him. I don't think Stoke are good enough. I think he's better than Stoke. I do genuinely think he's better than Stoke. Stoke are sitting in 5th in the Championship. I think that's the last playoff place.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 5th or 6th.
5th or
Something
6th,
ridiculous, yeah. The playoffs are stupid. I think he's good enough to be in a team that can push for the playoffs. So you're talking Blackburn. He could go to Blackburn and play there.
I think he's good enough for Premier League
He
teams.
could go to Bournemouth and play there. Bournemouth are guaranteed promotion this season. They've lost 1 game. Bournemouth are guaranteed promotion. And if you think to yourself, strengthen your ranks, bring Suter in when you already know you're going to get promoted.
Yeah.
Play him for 6 months, get him used to integrated, and then bang into the Premier League.
Yeah.
Be a good signing for Bournemouth, but at the same time, the Bournemouth need him.
Nah.
Stoke need him.
Aye.
There's a need for him at Stoke.
But does that play into our favour? If Stoke need him, because they don't have anybody else, or they don't have a good enough calibre player to cover for his brother.
If it comes to January,
you know,
if they don't,
are we in a position where we can
so
demand
money? If they don't buy him in January, they're gonna buy someone else.
Yeah.
Which means they won't need him at the end of the season. Which means he'll probably sign a new contract.
Yeah.
So it might work out in our favour.
I don't think he's signing a new contract.
And
I don't think that's.
I feel like
anywhere near.
No, if Stoke turn around and say we don't need him, we're going to sign someone else. Your Middlesbroughs, your Blackburns, they're all going to come in and be like, well, we'll have him, but we don't need him, so here's less money, and then we'd have to accept it.
I think John Suter's realised that he's in a position now where he's being wanted by clubs down south, and I think it's worked for his brother playing down south. And I think he'll be a really close person that'll probably be telling him every day that he needs to come down. And I think he'll know by all these clubs wanting him that he'll go down south.
Yeah.
The money's better.
He'll be on triple.
You know,
triple of what he's on at
he'll
Hearts.
be able to maybe get into the Premier League. You know, he's going to be on TV near enough every week.
I don't want him to go, but if he does, I wouldn't hold it against him.
Nah,
because I say have a career.
No.
You're 25. I was reading somewhere the other day, they were talking to Ryan McGowan. He bumped into John Suter last year when he was on crutches. He just had his surgery, and all John Suter was talking about was walking again. The fact he's playing international football right now as we speak is amazing.
Yeah.
So I want him to go down to. I don't want him to go, but if he goes, I'll support him anywhere he goes.
Yeah.
A lot, because I think he's brilliant. He really is.
I just think it leaves a bit of salt in Hearts fans' mouths.
Yeah.
For the money that we won't get for him.
Yeah.
And I think Hearts fans, even if he signed like a year contract, but we sold him in summer next year, I think that's what Hearts fans want to see.
Yeah,
I don't think Hearts fans want to see him sign a new contract and stay for 5 years.
No.
You know, I think Hearts fans want to see him sign a contract that repays us something for the investment we've made in him. You know, we've not just made the 130 grand that we paid for him. We've made the investment of paying his probably high wages for 5 years when he's been injured for 3 of the years.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just the expense of paying for the player; it's the expense of keeping the player fit.
I think the good thing about John Suter, I could see him that he'll be involved in the deal to leave, but even I think he'll turn around and say that's not enough for me because that's not enough for the club. I think he'll have a say in how much he sort of goes for, because he's not. If Stoke come in and say, "Here's 50k," I even think John Suter would turn around and say, "No, that's not repaying them enough for what they've done for me."
But they would reject it.
Yeah, would they? Because you could lose him for nothing. You could lose him for nothing.
Joe Savage would reject that.
You could lose him for nothing though. So
there'll be a minimum value.
It'll be what we paid for him.
Nah, it'll be more than that.
You think?
I think the minimum value we'll accept is 500,000 in January. That's the minimum we'll accept.
I don't think so. Huh?
There'll be a price tag on him that'll be millions just now. And then the minimum that we'll accept in January to take him off our hands in January rather than the summer will be a lot.
A little bit of money plus paying off his wages and stuff like that as compensation. So, no, yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with him going in January.
Yeah, if he goes,
if we get money for him.
Yeah, if we get money for him in January.
I'd be very gutted if we let him go for less than we paid for him, or for, you know, that sort of money.
Yeah, but if he does stay for the rest of the season and leave for nothing at the end, we'll still be glad we had him for another 6 months.
I'd love to see him move to Stoke. I'll become a Stoke fan though. That'll be my new English team. I'd love to see him go
club now. The Stoke were struggling last season. Everybody thought they were going to go straight back up to the Premier League, but
I just want to see what it'll be like there. I want to see him go up against championship caliber players and see what he actually is like.
Yeah, because
going up
in the
against
Scottish
somebody,
League, he's only really tested when you play the
4
bigger
games a season.
Yeah, Hibs maybe if we're there playing
6
well.
games a season.
Yeah,
You know.
Aberdeen.
Aye. Whatever. In Aberdeen. Fucking Aberdeen. Well, that brings us on to our main feature of this week's podcast, which is our all-time best Hearts 11 that we've seen.
Yeah.
So these are only players from sort of when we've been able to watch.
Yeah, so when
so from like 2004 onwards.
Yeah,
for me anyway.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the players like Robertson play.
Nah, or Colin Cameron.
Or Colin Cameron. Or
all you see is the old videos of a win in the 90s.
Yeah, because I was actually looking up some of the like top rated players Hearts have had, and Colin Cameron was a constant name that kept coming up. And then I was like, I've not actually seen Colin Cameron play, so I googled some videos and watched them on YouTube. What a player he was!
Yeah, he was good.
He was such a good player. Players like that. So
John Robertson and that.
John Robertson.
He was a fantastic player.
I'm ordering his book soon, hopefully.
Oh yeah,
so, I really want to read
that'll
it,
be good. That'll be good. So, let's go goalie.
Is this the only position? Right. What to do first is we'll go through. We'll not say who, but we'll see how many players out there living we agreed on. So 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So we agreed on 6 players.
So we went for a 4-2-3-1 formation
so
for both of us.
Should we go over the 6 players we agreed on first?
No, go
goalkeeper. Right, goalkeeper.
Right, I picked
Marion Kelly.
Joel Pereira.
No, we both
I
picked Craig Gordon.
Craig Gordon.
I mean, he's still doing it now.
He's
like, we were watching a little bit. It was on in the background. We were watching a little bit of the Scotland game, and we were just listening to it, and we just heard the commentators go nuts. We turned around, and what was it? A world-class Craig Gordon save. Yeah. I mean, he's still he's doing it on an international stage. So he's 38 years old. Even Craig Gordon was saying he's going to try and do this for as long as he can, and I can see him playing on to 42, maybe a little bit of that, because he missed a couple of years. So he's an absolute cat.
He's unreal.
Love him.
He's unreal. Like,
so Craig Gordon,
he's fantastic. Yeah, I was gonna the backup to Craig Gordon was Jamie McDonald for me.
Yeah,
because he was really good for Hearts.
We first seen Jamie McDonald at that Queen of the South game.
Yeah,
we went to the Queen of the South versus Rangers Cup final.
Yeah,
and Jamie McDonald was in goals for Queen of the South.
Yeah.
He was brilliant then too. Yeah, he made a few really good saves.
He was in the goals for the 2012 Cup final as well for Hearts.
He was, yeah. He was. He didn't even want to leave when he left. Nah. He wanted to stay.
Nah, he was a good goalkeeper. Actually.
He still is.
Yeah,
still a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, he was close second. Well, not even close second.
Craig Gordon, yeah, he wasn't close.
You can't. There's nobody that even comes close to him. To be honest,
no, there's not.
There's not. Right, so right back.
Right back.
I think this is our first
disagreement. I picked Robbie Neilson.
That's because you're a suck up.
No, I'm not a suck up.
Suck up because you met him at Blair Drummond.
I did to be fair, he was really, really nice.
Oh, is that why you picked him in your team?
No, it's not just that. He left Hearts, and even when he left Hearts as a player, he still had a good career.
Yeah.
He wasn't one of those players that just left and disappeared into nothingness. He left, was still a really good right back where he went, and he's became a relatively good manager and a good coach.
Yeah.
So I just think what he's given to the club, leaving Dundee United and coming back as a player, he won a trophy with us. I think he's brilliant. I think he was he was one of the first players that I seen kick a ball for Hearts when I started properly being able to understand watching football. He was one of the first players I seen kick a ball, and I was like, he's a really solid right back. I really like Robbie Neilson.
He was an alright right back in my opinion. I think he was the best. So I've picked Ryan McGowan. I think Ryan McGowan is one of the best right backs we've ever had.
I really like Ryan McGowan.
think determination, grit. I think he was fantastic going forward as well as defending.
Robbie Neilson was your defensive right back.
He's had a very good career after. You know, he's won the A-League.
He's won the A-League.
Won the A-League.
Brilliant.
Plays in Kuwait now for all that money that he's getting every week.
Wonder how much he's
won in China.
How much do you think he's on?
Oh, he'll be on thousands. In Kuwait, thousands.
Well, no, Toby Alderweireld left Tottenham and he's in Saudi Arabia.
Aye.
He's on double the money he was at Tottenham. He's 32. He's pretty much past it.
Aye.
Double the money playing for some Saudi Arabian team.
Do you know who plays with Ryan McGowan? Victor Wanyama.
No way. He was a tank. He
plays in that Kuwaiti team. Yeah, so I think Ryan McGowan didn't play. I think he only played 60 games for Hearts.
He didn't have enough for us, I don't think.
Nah.
He didn't get.
But he left at the right time for his money.
He left at the right time for the Goodies' career too. But he's always an outspoken. He loves Hearts.
Yeah,
he absolutely loves Hearts.
Yeah, he's a Hearts fan. I'm sure his home is still Edinburgh. I'm sure that's what he calls home.
Oh, I love him.
Aye. He was a fantastic player. Him and his brother were really good as well.
His brother was a good defensive midfielder, yeah.
I'm sure his brother played more games for Hearts than Ryan did.
Well, yeah, I think he did.
Because Dylan played in that 13-14 season.
Yeah.
And then 14-15 season.
Two very different players.
Yeah.
It was good to have them both there.
Yeah. Aye, Ryan McGowan's brilliant.
So,
So-
this is an agreement, and for me, this would be the captain.
Captain?
Captain.
Oh no, the Alien's captain for me.
No, captain.
Right, so the first centre back,
Stephen Presley.
Stephen Presley. I mean, you can't.
No,
You know, he was absolutely fantastic.
he was another set. He was a centre back that was one of the. He probably was the best Scottish centre back of his time. He was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He was a brick wall.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved him.
Old-fashioned centre back. Didn't take shit. Kicked the ball away. Just what you wanted him to do.
He was
A proper centre
A
back.
loud
like.
captain.
Yeah.
But very oddly, when you listen to him speak in interviews, very well-spoken, quiet guy.
Ah, he speaks a bit weird.
He's got an
doesn't
odd
he?
accent.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
but
like
he's really
Falkirk
quiet.
accent
He's
or
really
something.
quiet, and you just think, how did you scream
yeah.
at your team so loudly on the park, and yet you're in an interview and you're like, yeah, it's a good game of football.
Aye, he was good. Like, he was
Yeah.
good. Sold him for £1 million to Celtic.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Part of the Rickerton free.
He fucking was.
Him, Gordon, and Hartley.
Huh?
Outspoken against Vlad.
more people should have been.
Yeah, so Presley. I don't think we can really argue that Presley shouldn't be in this team.
No.
No, he should be
I
in this
think
team.
if you were to pick the other centre back between the other two we've picked, you can definitely chop and change. There's even another couple of centre backs I could probably name that would maybe slot in there as well, because you're Christoph Berras, because we didn't pick him, but Berra when he first played for us was good, and then when he first came back he was really good.
Yeah.
He had a good career away at Wolves. So
Yeah.
he
John
did a
Stewart
solid
really
career.
good as well.
John
But
Stewart's
he's probably
level,
not played enough.
yeah. Even Craig Halkett for what he's given the club.
Aye, he's not.
But he's
there,
not.
though.
He's not there. He's not the caliber of these guys. So
Yeah.
who was your?
My other centre back was Marius Zaliukas. For what he gave, and he would be my captain as well. Captained us to the 2012 Cup final. You know, tanked us through all these leagues. Came over, where he was the only Lithuanian with a couple other ones that were loaned in, and spoke to all the Scottish guys and got on with all of them. Captained us for I think 5 seasons.
He was
You know,
consistent.
he was
He
was a servant to the club,
Yeah.
and you know, before, you know, he died last year, and before he died last year, he didn't get the recognition he deserved
No, he
for
didn't.
what he done to our
He
club.
didn't. No, he didn't.
He
was-
loved Hearts.
He loved Hearts.
He loved it.
He was just when he finished his football career, he was a very quiet guy.
Yeah.
He was obviously ill, but he loved the club and he really did, and you could see that when we won the cup when he was in charge. He did dominate. Like every time he played, even when we were playing rubbish, he was always there, like
Yeah.
constantly at people, shouting at people, making tackles, chasing balls down. He was just an excellent centre back. He
Yeah.
really was.
Aye, I thought he was fantastic. I think he was one of the only Lithuanians that came over that was really good. I think him and I liked Mikalunas and I liked Chesnauskas and I liked Jankauskas. I think them 4 were probably the best
Yeah.
Lithuanians we got, but I think Zaliukas was probably the best
Yeah.
one that we got. I
He
think
was such
he
a
was.
consistent
yeah.
player as well. He was
Yeah.
very consistent.
He's just I thought he was just a fantastic player for Hearts, like, and had a good career after. Went to Rangers, played in the Premiership, and then went to Leeds. He played for Leeds for a few seasons, and then went back to Lithuania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
I
good
thought he
player.
was a very good
A
player.
good pick.
So who's your other centre back?
My other centre back was Andy Webster.
Ah, it's what a player! What a player! Yeah.
There's no words.
Also played in the 2012 Cup final.
Exactly. He was. I mean, he was the ball playing defender to Stephen Presley's no nonsense. That's what I
Andy
was going
Webster
for.
was a good player. Like.
Yeah, but Andy Webster, 2 stints at the club, captain of the club, and was he the one that? No, it was Danny Wilson, wasn't it? Was it Danny Wilson? No, it was Andy Webster who got banned for shouting in the tunnel against Aberdeen. Let's get in about these sheep shagging bastards. He screamed in the tunnel and he got caught on the TV cameras and he got banned and fined.
Andy Webster was the one who. Do you know the Bosman rule?
Yeah,
He was the one.
he was the first player to go with. Yeah,
because he went to Wigan.
yeah.
Aye.
He again had another really good career. Everywhere he went, he was a good player. He was normally in the Scotland setup when he was playing and he was fit. He was another excellent player. And the only reason I picked him over Zaliukas was a football mind. Is if I picked Zaliukas and Presley, they're both basically the same defender.
Yeah.
So 2004, Zaliukas would probably be in there with Presley because he would just break legs. But nowadays, you need something to
Yeah,
pass.
aye, definitely.
But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't like.
Webster was quality.
Yeah,
He really
exactly.
was. He was a
an
really
excellent
good player. Good servant to Hearts as well. Cared for the club. and he's under 18s St Mirren manager.
Yeah, he's
I think,
somewhere coaching
or he's a
right now.
coach for under 18s at St Mirren. Yeah, but what a player he was like. Huh? So let's go on to left back, Sean.
Left back. So, I was thinking of players that would be that are well-known players that played for us, and the reputation they brought with them.
Right.
Because his reputation for signing for Hearts, we were
Yeah,
just
no,
like,
but he only.
yeah, but you sit and look at him and you're like, why was he playing for us? Because he was way too good for that league.
Right. So tell us who it is.
Takis Visas.
Right. So you're telling me a guy who played one season for Hearts is in your all-time best 11?
One season for Hearts, but won a Euros with Greece.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. a fake Euros, you know.
Yeah,
The
he
one he
won the
meant to.
Euros.
They bought the Euros.
He won the Euros. It doesn't matter. He won the Euros, right?
Taki Faces was a fantastic player.
If you pick probably any other Hearts player in our history, none of them have won a European trophy.
Nah.
Exactly. He was when he played,
Nah.
the limited games he did play, he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
He was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he was good.
But he was
good.
another one of the first players that I like, because I was watching the Greek Euros, and I remember his name being mentioned a few times, and I was just like, it's good he's won it. And then we heard he was signing for Hearts, and you're like, why you got the Scottish League?
I bet he got paid a bomb.
He'd probably been one of our highest paid players ever.
He must have been. He must have been the highest paid player.
Yeah.
So I've picked Lee Wallace.
See, I don't disagree with that choice, because Lee Wallace was a great servant to the club.
Lee Wallace came through our youth system, played for us for not decades, for a lot of seasons.
Judas.
Went to Rangers, and then played in QPR now.
Yeah.
He's had a fantastic career.
He's a really good career.
He was a fantastic left back
Yeah.
as well.
He's a grass.
It's
That's all.
fine. I'm not
It's
bothered.
only to Rangers.
I'm not
fans,
bothered.
isn't it? Who gives a flying? Who cares? He went to Rangers. Who cares? No, but Lee Wallace, he was too good for us.
Yeah.
He was. But he was also too good for Rangers. He should never
Yeah,
have
he
been at
was.
Rangers.
He was.
He
He
should-
only went there for the paycheck.
Yeah, you could tell. Because he
But
didn't
he could have went down
Was
south.
he not captain Rangers for a little bit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure
he
he did.
did. Oh,
sure he did.
absolute.
Aye, he was a really good player though.
He was
I
an
think he's the
excellent
best
player.
left back I've seen at Hearts. Aye, he was very good.
Apart from Alex Cochrane.
Alex Cocker, he's a left wing
Hero,
back.
He's a legend.
Stevie Kingsley. So, two central midfielders. Who you going for?
So the one we picked and agreed on
Yeah,
was Paul Hartley.
yeah. I mean, you can't go for a Hearts 11 without putting Paul Hartley in that team. He was iconic.
Set pieces, passing, aggression. He was a very angry little man.
He was just a very good
He was
footballer.
just excellent. He was
He
just
was
one
a
of those.
very good footballer.
One of those players again. He's another player who was too good for the league he was playing in.
Yeah.
I felt like he could have done more with his career.
Yeah, aye, definitely.
Because where did we sign him from? Livingston or something like that?
No,
It was something ridiculous. It was such a small club. They were in the league below when we signed him.
There's no Rafe Rovers.
They were in, yeah. He was in the league below when we signed him, and everybody was questioning why we signed him.
No, was it no Hibs?
St Johnston.
St Johnston.
So
aye.
he came from St Johnston, but I'm pretty sure St Johnston at the time were in the league below, and we were in the top league.
Yeah,
and we
because he
signed
played
him.
for Hibs before.
Yeah, and we signed him, and we were like, yeah, he played for Hibs, and then he went to Greenock Morton, and then he went to
yeah.
St Johnston, and then we signed him in 2003. I think we originally just signed him for his set pieces, but he ended up being an absolutely brilliant
He was a
player.
brilliant player. He
He
was a
actually played-
fantastic player.
So if we're looking at his history here, he played most of his games for us. He played 118 games for Hearts. He'd never played any more games than that for any club.
Signed for Celtic for 1.1 million.
That's another really good piece of business, though. But again, I think he just went there for the paycheck. European football as well, he'd got there.
Yeah.
It's a pull. As a player, you're never going to turn down the opportunity to play European football.
No.
But even after that, he went on to Bristol. And he done well at Bristol. And then he
Yeah,
finished
and
his career at Aberdeen.
He was a very good player. I really liked him as a player.
Is he
Them
managing
goals
just
he
now?
scored. He's managing Cove Rangers.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
He's
He's managing Cove. How's his record? Is he any good as a manager?
52% win rate.
For Cove Rangers isn't bad. I mean, he's
They've got a lot of money though.
he's managed Alloa, Dundee, and Falkirk as well. I knew about Dundee. I didn't know he managed Falkirk.
Yeah. Yeah, very good player. Decent guy, you know. What a fantastic servant to the club again.
Yeah, another one.
You know, he's
Played 118 games
118 games,
118
you know.
games.
Fantastic.
over the course of 4 seasons, I think.
So the other central midfielder we had an issue picking because
There's loads, and there's also none.
there's loads, but there's none that really stand out. You know, there's not loads of central midfielders that have played for Hearts that have been absolutely fantastic. We might have missed a couple. I'm hoping we didn't miss any.
It was hard for us because I think if you go back to the era before us, before our time as watching players, you've got Colin Cameron, Stamp, players like that. You can pick those players because they're brilliant. But in our generation of growing up and watching Hearts, there's not been a central midfielder where I can sit back and safely say he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Alongside Paul Hartley. There's a couple, the ones we've picked, I would happily have your player in my team. And I'm sure you'd happily have my player in your team.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So it's
So
one
who
of
have you
those
picked?
things. I picked Lariah Kingston.
Yeah.
He was massively underrated when he came to us. He had a very limited career of games because of injuries. He only played 130 odd games, but he played 51 games for Hearts. That's 3 seasons worth of football playing for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 seasons worth of football he had played for us, and I feel like he was one of those players that just went under the radar for how good he actually was. I mean, and then I'm sure he started his career. He was playing for somewhere, in like Russia or something like that. But he was such an underrated player, and he was one of the very few players you could see playing for central midfield who could use both his feet.
Yeah. I think he was. I'm sure I read an interview with Paul Hartley or someone else that Lariah Kingston was the best player on the ball at the club, but he was lazy. He was a lazy player, but I think he was another player that, you know, playing in World Cups. You know, he played at a really high level.
Played for Ghana. Yeah.
You know, must have been paying him a bomb as well. But he was a fantastic player. He was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I
He's a
loved
really
him. He signed in 2007, and he was on loan originally. He signed in 2007, and that was at like the height of me sort of learning about Scottish football. And he came in, and you know, you're looking at some of but this was before the Lithuanians. He was like one of these foreign players that came in. You're like, oh, we've signed a foreign player, and he comes in and he starts passing like he's been there so long. He just felt like he fit into the group really well. But that's the one slight gripe I'd have about him, is he was very lazy.
Yeah. Great player on the ball.
Yeah, he's
fantastic.
Excellent.
So my player, right, that I think could probably give this guy a game on the ball.
Absolutely love your player. I think
Ian
he's
Black.
Brilliant. I love him.
I thought Ian Black was a fantastic player
He's
for Hearts.
such an underrated player.
Yeah.
And to pull that shirt up, paint this town maroon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually cared. You know, actually cared.
He loved the club.
Yeah.
He still does. He still talks about them on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Oh, what's he doing now? He's selling fridges or something.
No, he's a painter. I'm sure he's a
No,
painter.
who's doing the fridges? He used to play for us.
I can't remember who it is.
Yeah,
Joe Hamill?
Something like that,
No,
yeah.
I think it might be Joe
Yeah, but
Hamill.
one of our
remember.
ex-players, I think he installs kitchens or sells
Yeah.
like refrigerator lorries or something like that. Absolutely crazy.
Ian Black was some footballer. I think the way he pinged the ball most games was fantastic.
Switch it, Blackie.
Passing was fantastic. You know, he had a lot of stuff in his locker. You know, went to Rangers, pissed Hearts fans off a little bit for the moving to the bigger club patter. But at the end of the day, you know, won the Scottish Cup with us in 2012. Cared about the club enough to keep on playing when he wasn't even getting paid. You know, working a second job to get money.
Cammy Devlin reminds me so much of Ian Black.
Yeah.
But I think Ian Black was better on the ball.
I think Ian Black is very good
Ian
player.
Black's passing ability. I used to call him the Scottish Michael Carrick, because it's exactly what he done. He just sat in that centre circle area and he just picked up the ball, played a little pass, picked up the ball, played a little pass. But he was also capable of just pinging it to a winger.
Yeah.
And it was just so good to see. It's so different to see in the Scottish League at the time. But I loved him. I thought he was excellent.
I thought he was fantastic.
I still think he's brilliant. His Instagram's great to follow. He's always in Dubai.
Living it up.
He must be doing well for himself, eh?
I'm right. He'll be painting everything maroon. Right, so we go to the wingers and the attacking midfielder. So, right wing.
This was a debate that we had a little bit.
This was a massive debate because you're wrong.
I just love him. I just absolutely love him.
You know, the guy is a fantastic player, but he's no top 11.
I'm going to quickly Google him because what he gave to the club was absolutely brilliant, right? I just love him. Even that, you look at his career, right? That was most of his career, right there. Most of his look at all that. That doesn't matter.
Right. So the
like
player
nines,
is
tens, and ones. Ryan Stevenson.
Ryan Stevenson.
We've never had a player like him. We never will have another player like him. But there's so many other players that I could have picked in that position. The other two that I had in mind were Sam Nicholson, but I think he left too early.
Yeah.
Your player, who I won't name till you've named him, he could have easily been in there. But he could easily been on the other side as well. That's the thing about your player.
Yeah.
Any three of those positions.
Any three of them positions you can play it.
I feel like in an ideal world, Jamie Walker, if he stayed fit and was the player he was when we first had him, he could easily be in there. But Ryan Stevenson, for me, he was one of those players that when he was on the pitch, everything.
Yeah.
Every game, everything. And you just don't get that nowadays.
Yeah. He was another player that left in 2012 when he wasn't getting paid, but only left because we couldn't afford his wages. He said that if they were paying him, he would have stayed.
Yeah.
So...
But he's another...
He loved the club. He's a Hearts fan.
He's a Hearts fan.
You see him in the papers all the time. He's the one that
just looks like
does
a
the
criminal.
Well, it's
He
all
just
them
looks like-
tattoos.
It's
isn't
just when
it?
he goes on the pitch, I just thought he's either going to score a goal or he's going to break somebody's leg.
Yeah.
But he was just a player that gave... I love players that give their all
Yeah.
for their teams. And he was one of those very few players that did.
Yeah, he was a very good player.
He was a very good
player. Yeah.
I mean, you can
I'll
even pick
totally
him as
agree.
striker as well, because he done quite a lot of that for us.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Ryan Stevenson. Who was yours?
My right winger, I know he played most of his career on the left, but he can play on the right. David Templeton.
Such an underrated player.
Scored that goal against Liverpool at Anfield. You know,
Reina scored the goal.
that puts him in the team automatically. Another player that left for Rangers, but you know, what a good player David Templeton was. What a fantastic young winger David Templeton was.
Yeah.
Always cutting inside. I think his career wasn't up to his potential.
No, it's
Because he went to Rangers, then went to Hamilton.
He went to Rangers.
Burton,
I'm sure he went to
Hamilton.
Rangers and got injured. And he's had a lot of injuries since,
Yeah.
which is why you can see he played for Hearts 81 games, but then as his career goes on, he plays less and less.
Yeah.
But he did get a lot of injuries. But I've got a story about David Templeton. I bought his shirt with his name on it, and then he left. Because they announced on the website David Templeton number 7, and I was like, well, he's obviously staying, or they wouldn't give him a number 7. So I went and bought his shirt, and then a couple of weeks later he signed for Rangers. I've still got that shirt. I honestly, that could go for millions. That thing. But no, he was excellent. He was technically on the ball. He was really good. He could find a pass.
He was a very
He
good
was really
player.
quick.
Yeah.
Very quick.
Technically gifted.
Um,
He was at that sort of time in 2012. He left, but all them sort of youth players were coming through.
Yeah.
So like Jamie Walker, Sam Nicholson, Patterson, you know, a lot of these youngsters, Jamie King, Billy King, you know, Jason Holt, all
Billy
these sort of
King?
players were coming through.
King Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So David Tell was a good choice.
Very good.
Really good player.
Very good
Yeah.
player, like. So let's leave the attacking midfielder in the centre.
Do him at the end.
Do him second last.
Left midfielder.
Left midfielder. We've both
We've
agreed
both
on
agreed
this
on
one.
this because I reckon what it is about him, right? Because he was never like the best player on the park. A couple of games he'd maybe been the best player on the park, but he was just such a different player for us to have. He played on the left wing. He was left-footed. Every time he got the ball, he just looked like he wanted to do something with it. He played nearly 150 games for Hearts, so he played for a lot of time. Played between 2006 and 2013, so that's like the height of us when we started going to Tynecastle. Andy Driver.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was a fantastic player.
He was so. His consistency was let down by his injuries. When he was fully fit, he was on the park. He would take control of the game, but he was so injured that he could never keep up that consistent.
Yeah.
Every week in, week out, you get him for 3 or 4 games, and you'd lose him for 3 or 4 games, and you get him back for 3 or 4 games, and you never have that consistency. If he kept the high level, he would have been long gone from Hearts before he left. He'd have been signed by someone. I just
Another
loved
youth
him.
product as well.
And he hit me in the head with a football.
He was a fantastic player. Every time he got the ball, something happened.
Yeah, it looked
You know,
like
it looked like something was going to
he
happen.
would never go back. He would
No.
take the ball, he would turn face, he would go for his man, and I just love that.
Also won the Scottish Cup in 2012.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had
You know.
143 games he
Yeah.
played for us. That's
good.
That's super.
What, in 7 years, 8 years?
Yeah,
8 years.
that's excellent. That's really good,
Decent.
and he was excellent to watch.
Yeah.
What's he doing now?
I'm sure he's.
'Cause I love what he's doing now.
Is he not like something to do with like finance?
Yeah, so he's retired.
Yeah.
He's only 33,
Yeah.
and he's retired. And right now, I'm pretty sure he's in America working for some MLS team as a finance director. or
Yeah,
something.
is he not something to do with that?
He's making more money doing finance directing than he ever did in his football career because he's in the States.
What player?
They'll be paying him a bomb in the
I know.
States, yeah.
He was a fantastic player.
I was absolutely gutted when he left. I really
Yeah.
was. But he went away and he had
He
two
had a good career.
two
in
solid seasons
America.
in America, and then he came back and played for Aberdeen for one game.
One game
Really? And then he went and played in the Eredivisie for a season.
for free season.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Oh, no,
To
two
play one season in the Eredivisie for your first time and score 4 goals and play 27 times, that's impressive.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
He was a really good player. You can't fault Andy Driver. I think another player that was hampered by injuries that could have made it a lot more than Hearts. Like,
Yeah.
could have made it a lot higher level.
think
I don't know if Houston Dynamo's a higher level than Hearts, to be fair. Like,
Yeah.
but you know, he was fantastic. He was a really good player. Like, so attacking midfield in the centre. Who have you went
Well, if
for?
anybody is picking their 11, it doesn't matter what era you're from. It doesn't matter if you go way back to 1902, right? You cannot pick attacking midfield and it not be Rudy Scatchel.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think I said before that the striker that I've picked is probably the best player I've seen in a Hearts jersey, as in the best player overall throughout his whole career in a Hearts jersey. But I think Rudy Scatchel is the best player I've ever seen in a Hearts jersey. I think Rudy Scatchel prime was in a Hearts jersey. You know, that 5-6 season he was fantastic, but in the 2012 to 14 or whenever we had them,
Yeah.
was absolutely fantastic as well. You know, how many goals did he score? He scored so many
You
goals.
looked at this before,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure he scored like something like 18 goals in his first stint and then 20 odd goals in his second stint. Which for an attacking midfielder and for a player who came into the Scottish League from Marseille. He came from Marseille, which is in itself nuts. He came from Marseille after a seasonal loan for Panathinaikos, and he played 35 games for Hearts. This is just the Wikipedia numbers. He probably maybe scored more or played less, but I think this is just leagues.
Yeah, this is just league games.
But it's on
If
here.
you can.
If you
Goes
go
into
to
the
the
club
club
stats.
statistics, there we go.
So Hearts, the first season, he's played 40 games and scored 17 goals.
Which is impressive.
It's fantastic.
It's a goal every second game.
Yeah. And then for his second run, he played 29 games and scored 13 goals in the 2010-11 season, and then 11-12 season, 40 games and 18 goals. Fantastic player. I mean, you can't fault anything that Rudy Scatchel ever did.
Big game player too.
Big game player.
He was the player who, if you were playing Rangers or Celtic or Hibs, you could call upon him, and he absolutely loved scoring past the Hibs.
But 99% of the game, he was a lazy bastard.
Oh, yeah,
He done nothing.
He was never signed to be the man of the match. He was signed to come on, give you 5-10 minutes of absolute brilliance per game, find a pass or score the goal.
His left foot was a peach. What a peach of a left foot he had, like.
I love him.
Fantastic player.
I absolutely love him. There's talk next year.
Oh, Gary Locke's
Gary
testimonial.
Locke's
He's
testimonial.
coming. We need to go.
If he's
We'll
going,
need to
we
go.
need to go anyway,
We'll need to go,
regardless.
yeah.
But if he's there, that crowd will be mad for him. Absolutely mad for him.
I love him.
I follow him on Instagram as well, and he's still in really good shape.
He's in America, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
something
got
like
like
that.
a soccer school in
He
America.
keeps himself in really good shape too. So I'd love to see him come back and just pop one in the
I
top
love
corner.
him. I'm surprised he's never been back to do like some sort of coaching role there, but you know, if he must love it in America, like.
He was such a good player. He had to be fair, I'm looking at here because I never really looked into his Southampton career. He played a lot for Southampton.
Yeah.
Played 83 games for them. 83 games for Southampton. In 3 seasons. But he
That's
mostly,
decent,
I
like.
think you read before that he mostly played left back because Gareth Bale left.
Gareth Bale left, yeah. So he played left back for most of his career.
Imagine
at
that.
Southampton.
Imagine you're going to play alongside Gareth Bale and he buggers off and you have to play
They
left
missed
back.
his left foot though. You know, he only scored them 5 goals.
Yeah,
They
that's
missed
fair.
his left
Yeah,
foot.
they did miss his left foot, to be fair. But
He's
yeah,
got a peach,
Rudy
yeah.
Scatchell, not just in the top 11, potentially one of the best players ever played for us. For what,
Yeah.
what he gave to the club, for the goals he
Yeah.
scored, for
He's
the
a true legend.
cup he won.
You know, for a man that's only played what is it, like maybe 90 games for Hearts, you know, he's probably one of the greatest players we've ever had. But it's what he's done, you know. So he's won 2 Scottish Cups, came second in the cup, scored tons of goals against Hibs. You know,
That makes you a legend, right?
you know, he's a fantastic player. He had it all. He cared. He loved the club.
He still loves the
He
club.
wanted to be back.
The fact he's even
You know.
considering coming back for a testimonial knows that he loves the club.
Yeah, he loves the club. Loves the club.
Be good to see that. I hope that testimonial. There's a lot of good old players that come back.
Aye,
Some,
Paul
hopefully,
Hartley will play
hopefully
it.
some of the players that we've
Aye,
mentioned.
our top 11.
Yeah.
11 versus 11.
Christoph Berra will be back. He'll still be playing for Wraith Rovers.
Oh, God.
Punt it up the park, Berra.
Right, so let's go to our final position that we've agreed on.
Yeah.
Striker, who have you picked?
Stephen Naismith.
Yeah, Stephen Naismith. But I only think Stephen Naismith because I think Stephen Naismith's the best footballer Hearts have ever had playing for them. I think he's
Yes.
the best player, like career-wise player that Hearts have ever had playing for them.
Definitely. I mean, he started off at Kilmarnock. He was excellent at Kilmarnock. That's why he got signed for Rangers. But that, between 2012 and 2016, to be a consistent starter, well, not even that, 2012 to 2016,
Yeah,
a consistent starter in the Premier League.
yeah.
Played 31 games, 31 games, 31 games, 10. Then he went off to Norwich, played half a season with Norwich in the Premier League. And then he played almost every game for them in the Championship. And then he started to pick up his injuries. But to play 4 solid seasons with Everton, who they're not the biggest club in England, but they're support-wise, financially-wise, reputation-wise, a big club. And he started almost every game.
Remember, he scored that perfect hat-trick against Chelsea as well.
Absolutely brilliant. Header, left foot, right foot. Not just that, like,
He's
if you
amazing.
watch
He was
back-
an amazing player.
You watch back on that performance, he was excellent.
Yeah.
All over the park. He was
And he
such
just-
a good player.
Do you know what? Cared. That's what I loved
He-
about Stephen Naismith so much.
Absolutely
He
loves
actually
football.
cared.
Doesn't he? He loves football. He's just one
But
of
he
those
just
players.
cared about
Yeah.
the club.
He loves football, and he can. I mean, you can tell a player loves football is when as soon as he retires, he goes into coaching.
Yeah.
They just love the game, and he's doing that for us now. And by the looks of it, he's quite a good coach.
What a player he is to have, though, or what a coach he is now to have in the dressing room, because he'll shout at them. Remember when we were watching it last season, the season before, all you heard was him shouting.
Yeah.
That's all you used to hear.
Yeah, and
it's just him shouting at
laughing
other players.
and laughing at Scott Brown.
Yeah. That's brilliant. That I love it. Love that picture.
I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many trophies Scott Brown won in the Scottish leagues. Like, he had a better career than Scott Brown. To even play in the Premier League for that period
Yeah.
of time at that consistently high level, and to score hat tricks past Chelsea.
Yeah.
I mean, that is different level of football. You can't name many players that come back to the Scottish League that have done that. You couldn't name any.
No.
I mean, even players that come from the Premier League now that sign for Rangers are players like Lundstrom, who's won a championship.
Yeah.
That's still not as good as playing 4 consistent seasons in the Premier League where and getting picked every week.
Yeah, he was fantastic. What a player. What a fantastic player. Yeah, best all round player I think I've ever seen in a Hearts jersey.
See, that's another thing about him is that you pick him for striker, but you could play centre attacking midfield.
Yeah.
You could play right wing.
You could play centre midfield.
Yeah.
I think you could play anywhere in
If
that
you
sort
turned
of
to him and
attacking
said-
section of
If
the
you
team.
turned to him and said, Naismith, I need you to play right back today, he'd be like, alright,
Yeah.
cool.
Aye.
Throw me on.
I bet he'd do good as well.
I probably would.
He'd be better than what, Robbie Nielsen.
Robbie Nielsen. Robbie Nielsen still looks like he could pull a shot and have a
No,
go.
he probably would like. So other sort of, I think we picked him because of the stature of a player that he is. But I think other options for striker could have been Jankowskis, who won the Champions League with Porto.
De Vries.
Roman Bednar, De Vries.
Kyle Lafferty.
Kyle Lafferty, who was fantastic for Hearts,
was.
to be fair.
I just couldn't.
Scored like 17
I
goals.
couldn't put him in my
He only
team.
played us 2
I
seasons or
couldn't
1
put him in my
season.
team.
Nah,
No,
I love it.
because he's not. He doesn't love the club. He's a Rangers.
No, he
fan.
doesn't love the club.
He
doesn't love the club.
players we've picked are players that essentially like either based on like how well they've done outside of like in their entire career, or absolutely would die for the club. He's none of them. He's not had a great career. He's not. He's been a.
He's a bit of a journeyman.
He's been a semi-good. He's been a really. I was speaking to a Hibs fan about this, and he doesn't like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He said Kyle Lafferty's just a really crap version of him. Big, tall guy, thinks he's absolutely brilliant, plays for loads of clubs, doesn't really do anything when he's there. But I was like, my argument is, I love Zlatan, right? But Kyle Lafferty is not a cheap Zlatan.
What do Hibs fans know about football?
I don't know. He's a Hibs fan. Tom McDonald is his name. He's listening to this because I know he does.
How can you think Zlatan is rubbish?
He thinks he was bullied out of Barcelona. He thinks he was a little bitch. I was like, no one bullies Zlatan.
A little bitch?
Aye, Zlatan would deck him.
Derek Grandin's a little bitch.
Derek Riordan's probably lying somewhere in a gutter right now with coke up his nose.
So that was our all-time, each of our all-time 11
Since
Hearts.
we started watching and going to Tynecastle, that's our 11s. I mean, we could talk and change it.
Yeah.
I could change it all day because there's so many good players that I've seen. There's some players in the team now that I think if they stay for periods of time will be in this. I mean,
I don't think you can. Well, we have picked
think
Craig
about it, right?
Gordon.
No,
Craig
but think
Gordon's the
about
only
it.
one we've picked.
2-3 years down the line, if he's still at the club, that right back position could easily be Michael Smith.
See, it could be.
Easily
It could
Michael
be.
Smith.
I was basing my team on players that don't play for us anymore.
Yeah.
But I keep on forgetting that Craig Gordon plays for us now.
Yeah.
But you can't not pick Craig Gordon. If we were picking players that don't play for us anymore and it's top 11, I would have to pick Jamie McDonald.
Yeah.
But Craig Gordon's the best keeper I've ever seen play.
See, I can't say that.
Who have you seen?
I've been Old Trafford a couple of times.
Well.
I've seen De Gea.
You know, Craig Gordon's better than De Gea.
He's not though.
He's better. Craig Gordon in his prime.
Nah. So, I love Craig Gordon to bits, and I genuinely think he is one of the best keepers I've ever seen. But David De Gea,
David De Gea.
at his prime,
Yeah, better.
even this season,
Yeah.
is worlds above goalkeepers.
Yeah, he is.
He's absolutely brilliant.
I think Craig Gordon only letdown is his distribution. I think he would have been a Premier League goalkeeper for years to come if his distribution was a lot better
And his
than it
injuries.
is. And his injuries, obviously.
How did he come back from that?
Because he's a god.
He actually...
He's a living god.
I bet he just looked at his hand and it was all mangled and he just went, I want to play football again, and it just fixed.
I'm telling you, the goalkeeping coaches, as soon as Craig Gordon enters, just like bow.
They might as
Bow
well.
to him when he
Can you
comes
imagine
in,
that?
like-
Who's our goalkeeper coach? Paul Gallagher. He was
Yeah.
never on the level of Craig Gordon's like, shut up. I'll do this. Right, I've got this.
I wonder if Paul Gallagher will be fearing for his job when Craig Gordon retires.
I would be.
They might just have 2 goalkeeping coaches. They might have Paul Gallagher there to actually coach, but Craig Gordon there just to stand in the back going, you're doing an alright job.
Ah, well done, mate.
Well done.
And then when he's like 45 and we've got Ross Stewart and goals, he could be like,
He's going.
no, but Craig Gordon could be like, I'm 45, but I'll come back because I'm better than that. And then we'll be like, alright.
That is the worry, actually. So what if Craig Gordon retires at the end of the season?
You can't say that.
What if he retires?
So,
Who have we got? Who are we playing next season? Because we're not playing any youngsters.
it's not even next season. Like, say even if he does stay for a few more seasons, which I think he will, when he leaves, who do you replace Craig Gordon with?
I don't think the youngsters are good enough. Because I think that, what do you call him?
Harry Stone?
Harry Stone. Was Craig Gordon at Harry Stone age was playing first team football for Hearts.
And then a couple of years after that, £9 million to
Yeah.
Sunderland. Harry Stone's
So-
currently playing...
Partick Thistle, but doesn't even get a game.
Exactly. We've got Harris Spratt. Is that
He's
his
like
name?
16.
Exactly, so he's not going to be a pick.
No.
Ross Stewart, who was Livingston's second choice goalie.
We only got him there because his dressing room atmosphere thing. I think he's fantastic for a back.
Yeah, I think he's sound.
I think
he's
that's
just
the whole
I think he's
reason
just
he's
a really
there.
nice guy.
He's like that, what do you call him for Man City? The backup goalie, Scott Carson. He's only there. He's only there at Man City because he's dressing room and he backs up
And his
Ederson.
beard.
And his beard.
He's got a gorgeous
He's
beard.
not got a Craig Gordon beard.
No, but the thing about Scott Carson's beard is he's got like grey in it and it just looks...
Charlie Mulgrew's beard is good.
Charlie
I
Mulgrew's
like
a man.
Charlie Mulgrew's.
Wouldn't mind signing him for another season if he kept up the way he's playing.
Let's
But
swap him for Suter.
Craig Gordon is like, it doesn't matter when Craig Gordon leaves, that replacing that goalkeeper is near on impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Celtic. When he left, I know
They had to
Celtic.
go out and buy Joe
Well,
Hart.
I know Celtic fans that were sitting there going, "Why we've
know.
got Scott Bain in goals?"
They offered him less money to stay.
Yeah,
That was the worst decision that they ever made.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Considering he's just like back in the Scotland setup too, and he's number one goalkeeper. He's probably right now the best keeper in the league.
Oh.
He was probably one of the best keepers Celtic have had in a while. And then they have the absolute disrespect to say, "Oh, we'll offer you less money."
I just had a light bulb moment there, right?
What?
Question of the week. If Craig Gordon was stayed on at Celtic, would Celtic have won the league last season?
Yes. They're going to conceded guaranteed 20 to 25 less goals. Because have you seen him?
Yeah, he's a god. He's literally a god.
I mean, we watched a tiny little bit of the Scotland game, and he was pulling off saves.
Yeah.
And then the commentator, I don't know who the commentator was.
Ali McCoy was one of them.
Yeah, the other one said, "That's a standard save now for Craig Gordon." And it's just like, that's a standard. You see, if he was 10 years younger and he was doing this, teams down England, 20, 30 million quid would be coming in for him because of how well he's playing.
I want to have a look. There must be some sort of Hearts analytics page or something like that. That I want to know how many points he has got us this season. Where he saves.
Well, the Hibs game for a start. He
The
saved
Aberdeen
us.
game.
Aberdeen game.
Celtic game at the start of the season. Rangers game.
Yeah, it's probably got 3 points.
Aye. Where would we be sitting if Craig Gordon wasn't in goals? I know it's hard. You can't really tell because you
Well,
don't know
unless
what the
somebody
other
can
goalkeeper
actually
would
find
do.
the numbers.
No, but you can't tell what another goalkeeper would do. So all you can really tell is what would happen if Craig Gordon wasn't in goals.
Yeah, because you could
With
turn
the
around and
points.
say, what happens if Dundee United's goalkeeper wasn't
Yeah.
as good as he is? Yeah.
Yeah. But he let in 5 against us. My God. Get it up, yes.
He's good, but he's no Craig Gordon.
There's another tick on the list there. Absolute scumboats, man. Right.
So I think we'll finish this episode with just going over the fixtures for the next when real football's back in
So
England.
next weekend.
In England,
This weekend.
In England, aren't playing a bunch of plumbers and winning 10-0.
I wonder if any of the San Marino players are professional.
San Marino,
Nowadays.
their population is unbelievably
Their
small.
population is like 35,000
Yeah.
people.
It's like
It's like less than the Borders.
yeah, and they've got a football team out of it.
Aye.
It's not bad at all.
It's decent, isn't it?
That's good.
I wonder if they get paid. Like for the national. They must get paid international.
I wouldn't have paid them for the performances they put on there. Maybe they just
Expenses?
maybe they just don't have to do as much overtime at Tesco's. Right.
It'll supplement their income at Argos.
We'll cover your bus here, it's fine. So the next games are Saturday the 20th of November, which is this weekend coming. Hearts are away from home against Motherwell.
Hammered. We're going to get absolutely hammered.
What are they going to do? Long ball it, isn't it?
Stephen O'Donnell's going to score a hat-trick against
Oh,
us.
he can fuck off.
If Stephen O'Donnell scores a hat-trick, right?
What do you mean a hat trick?
What do
If
you
he
mean?
even plays.
You love Stephen O'Donnell
hate
that
Stephen
much,
O'Donnell.
right?
I hate
think,
him.
right, I think we make this bet this week. If Stephen O'Donnell scores a goal against Hearts, you have to buy a Motherwell top with Stephen
I'm
O'Donnell.
not buying a Motherwell top.
Why?
Because I'm not a Motherwell fan.
But you have to make the bet.
Here's a bet. I'll buy a Scotland top with his name on it.
Oh, you mug! Buy Scotland top.
I would rather we walk caught walking into a Scotland top than a fucking Motherwell top.
I don't know, like the Steelmen. You could just say
Fuck
you're a football kit.
It's not just that. Their
Collector.
kits are rancid. Their yellow thing is
I
it's
know.
horrible.
Their
I don't like
badges
it. It's
look
like
shit,
yellow and
doesn't it?
orange are like two of the brightest, ugliest. But nah, get it the fuck. I'll buy a Scotland top with his name on it.
Aye, right.
Deal.
Hey, Westcott.
Probably.
It'll be a nil. 0-0.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Nah, I think we'll comfortably win.
Boyce gonna score.
But I think Boyce will get in the team.
Would you really mate?
I think Boyce will
Actually,
get
yeah,
in the team.
coming back for fitness, he probably will on the bench and bring him on.
Why are they bringing him back in the team? When you won 5-2 last weekend?
You sound like me.
No, but why?
I agree.
Why would you do that?
I wouldn't.
No.
Like for
So
me, that I'd be
any
playing-
manager worth his salt would keep that same team.
It's Robbie Nielsen though.
So Boyce will play it.
Gary Mackay-Steve will probably start as well.
Oh, no. I think Boyce will come on in the 60th minute.
Boyce is just back for injury, so you'll definitely not
You'll have
start.
to phase him in. You can't play
No,
him 90
I think you need
minutes
to
straight
get
away.
him playing well with that team as well.
Yeah.
That
So
front,
I think you'll play that 11. That
'cause that
exact
front
same
three,
11.
how fluid they are at switching position. Boyson's not going to be able to do that.
Actually, I don't think you'll play that 11. I think Smith will come back in for more.
I don't think that'd be a good idea, but I think you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
That'll be the only change for the Motherwell game. And
Hopefully.
then Boyce will come in.
To be fair,
on
we
the
said that
68th
in the last game, and then we seen Janelli up top, and we were wondering what the hell was going
Yeah,
on.
I think you'll keep that same 11 except from Smith coming in.
Smith coming. Yeah.
I
So
think he needed a break for a couple of weeks.
he needs it. Yeah, he's getting to that age now.
But hopefully he'll be quite decent, to be fair.
Yeah, if he's fit and he can go for a couple of games, like.
I don't think Motherwell will bother us, to be honest.
No, comfortable. Even if it's just 1-0, I can see it being a comfortable 1-0.
I don't think they're that good.
No, their numbers are quite deceiving. Like they had a really good start to the season, but when you actually
But they had a really good start of the season against shitty teams.
but if you actually watched them as well, they didn't
Yeah.
play good football.
No.
They didn't play good
That
football.
Rangers game, they were lucky to get a point.
Oh,
out
they're
of
very
that,
lucky. Very lucky.
Yeah.
Right, what are the other games?
Dundee United,
Dundee
Aberdeen.
United, Aberdeen at
Boring.
Tannadice.
Aberdeen are going to win 1-0.
We might have scored 5 goals past them, but no one else has scored many goals past them. So I
Aberdeen
think
will
it'll
win.
be quite difficult.
I think this is Aberdeen's turning point.
You
We're
think?
going to come
we said
fourth
that.
this season.
We said that against the Rangers game, and that wasn't a turning point.
What do you mean?
Go pick Motherwell.
Aye, but it was Motherwell who had 2 shots on target. Oh, by the way, that Kevin Van Veem's suspended for the Hearts game
Why?
because he got too many yellow cards. So their top goal scorer is
He
suspended
is
for that game.
too clinical. He's not allowed in the league. 2 shots, 2 goals. Hero. Yeah, but you thought the turning point was going to be the draw with Rangers with Aberdeen, and then they got beat off Motherwell. Admittedly,
The turning point for Aberdeen was the win against Hibs.
Yeah, but-
So they won against Hibs, drew against Rangers, won against us.
and then lost to Motherwell.
Lost to Motherwell, but
So
they shouldn't
they're
have
normally
won.
got a turning point. They're up and down.
Yeah, I know, but you know, if you go by how they played against Motherwell, they shouldn't have lost.
No,
they should have won that game.
But they did. And
Yeah.
Dundee United scored 2 goals past us, so they've got goals in them.
They don't have goals in them.
Charlie Mulgrew, if he's back, make a massive difference to that team. I'm going 0-0.
0-0.
0-0 written all over it.
I think Aberdeen.
I think Aberdeen are going to win. I'm not going to.
St Mirren, Livingston.
St
St Mirren. Oh, actually, I think that's got 0-0 written all
You see
over it.
Livingston though. Livingston have got. They had that habit at the start of the season. They were poor against us. They were poor, and then they won 2 games 3-0 on the trot.
Yeah.
St Mirren are not great. They're a good team to watch because I actually think they're quite a good little technical
My
side.
favourite player plays for them.
Jamie McGrath.
Jamie McGrath.
He is a
Hope
good
we
player.
sign him in January.
Yeah.
Thinking where we're going to play him, like, but just sign him so St Mirren can't use him.
If you sell Suter, couple of million.
Where are we going to play Jamie McGrath about?
Anywhere.
Where about? Who are we replacing?
Mackay.
But he's no winger.
He doesn't. You could play McGrath behind the striker. That formation we play, you could play one attacking midfielder and 2 up top. McGrath would fit in there perfectly.
So you'd only have the wing backs going up and in the wing.
Well, no, because if you play two up top with one behind, one of the front 2 inevitably pushes
yeah.
wide,
Yeah.
and then McGrath goes the other side. Boyce would just be up top by himself. It would work.
That would work.
I think McGrath's good enough to do it as well.
Aye.
So we've got St Mirren, Livingston. We think that's got to be a St Mirren win.
Yeah.
Wednesday, the 24th of November is the next game after that, which is Ross County versus Hibernian. Who are they?
I don't know. There's some scumboat
Yeah.
side from Edinburgh.
That sounds like a side effect to COVID. I've got Hibernian.
Dickhead, there's a shadow on there. There's a shadow on there.
That was funny. I'll give you that one. There seems to be a shadow there.
There seems to be a shadow there coming from the heart of Midlothian.
Yeah, I
But,
can't really see them. I think they're green.
so our scummy neighbours from across the city are going to hammer Ross County, to be honest.
What was the last Ross County game?
I don't know.
They
they've-
got beat 4-2 off the
Hibs
sub.
will win. Hibs should win, anyway. Hibs have lost 4 in a row, though.
That's because their main man, Nisbet's playing terrible.
He's only scored, what, 1 goal
Yeah,
this season?
Nisbet is terrible.
John Sears had more goals than Nisbet this season.
What's his name? Bigfoot. Boyle.
Yeah.
He's scored 6 or 7 goals this season, so he's probably their best player. But at the same time, like you can't rely on one guy to get your goals. No, I think Hibs will win it, but I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Nah, neither do I.
And then we've got. Do we do Saturday the 17th, 27th?
I'll run through
Aye,
them
go on
quickly.
then. Saturday the 27th of November, Dundee versus Motherwell at
Oh,
Dundee.
boring.
That is
That's
gonna
boring.
be rough.
Dundee winning. Dundee getting their first win of the season.
Then us back at Tynecastle. St Mirren?
We'll win that game.
Yeah.
We should win that game.
We should win that game by quite a bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully the crowd will be up for it. And then we've got Ross County Dundee United, which is Dundee United.
That's got a draw written all over it.
Yeah.
St Johnstone Hibs, hopefully a St Johnstone win. I want to see Hibs get relegated this season.
I don't even want to see them relegated. I just want to see them not winning it.
Yeah, I think I don't know. St Johnstone are pish. Draw?
St Johnstone are pish, but their manager has won more trophies than Steven Gerrard.
Cups, you can't compare that.
Why not?
You know, Dick Campbell's won more trophies than Steven Gerrard, but they're all fucking League 2 and League 1.
St Johnstone had to beat some good teams to get to the final.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't.
Who did they beat? So you're saying they beat none of the Old Firm?
I think they did.
I think they did.
I think they did.
Well, somebody had to put the Old Firm out.
I think it was them.
Oh, I have to search that.
I think it was them, man.
Just saying, he's won more trophies.
We'll search it and then next week I can be proved wrong. Right?
I'm only joking. The St Johnstone manager's obviously crap.
Of course he is. He drew against Hearts.
Any manager
Worth his salt.
worth his salt beat Robbie Nielsen.
That was proved wrong, wasn't it? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, for crying around. Okay, and the last games of that weekend are Livingston versus Rangers, which will be a Rangers win, and then Celtic versus Aberdeen. And
Nobody cares
Celtic
about
will
the
win.
Old Firm.
Nobody cares about them. They can play in their own. That's what they should do. Can they just have their own league?
They should just fuck off down south, eh?
Ah, we need the money to bring in.
Why?
Cinch
We'll
paid-
survive, alright.
Cinch paid us $3 million for 3 seasons. How much do you think Cinch would have paid us without Rangers or Celtic?
Well, remember Rangers were having a hissy fit about it.
Oh,
Because their advertising deal with another car sales bit is worth more than they get for the Cinch deal.
No wonder it's Cinch. Literally, like 2 years ago, Cinch wasn't a fucking thing.
I know, and then
Now
they've got
it's-
Ryland doing fucking adverts for them
Now
on
they're
TV.
sponsoring our league. Unbelievable, Jeff.
Is that us then?
That is it for this week.
That
yeah.
is it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed a special
yeah,
episode.
because last time we talked about Scotland and no one cared, so we decided to talk about Hearts the entire time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our all-time 11 Hearts players that we've seen play for the club. Yours will obviously be different.
Yeah, if there's anyone older out there, we'd love to hear your all-time 11 for the team.
Send them in.
Players you've seen.
Yeah.
Jealous of some of them, to be honest, especially Colin Cameron.
I think we'll see a lot of John Robertsons.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be honest, if you're picking all team, you don't pick anyone other than John Robertson.
Yeah, John Robertson up top. Like.
Imagine John Robertson and Rudy Scotch on the same team.
I think John Robertson could last in a 2021 season.
No. No chance. No chance.
Last like 10 games. They'd be fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really. Yeah, I've enjoyed talking about Hearts. Actually, it's quite good to get. You know, last week obviously got the luck of being able to talk about winning 5-2. So it's good to just talk about Hearts, but not the games. We get that in the next week when we play away from home.
Yeah, easy
Easy win.
So you can catch us next week for episode 9.
This is insane. This is
already
9 weeks. Yeah,
That's 2 months already.
2 months of our lives doing this now.
So catch us on the socials.
On the social.
That'll be the last time I say that. So
It
Twitter,
will be, because I'll be doing this for Soundix and give you to that again.
So Twitter is.
Catch us on the gram.
We don't have Instagram.
I'm not-
You're missing it.
Alright.
You need to get on
I'll
the Instagram.
I'll get a set up on the gram.
Do like selfies at the games and that
We'll become influencers.
with filters and that. Hearts influencers.
Wear duck clips.
So catch us on the socials.
Oh, fuck off.
Right, Twitter is at Park Up The. Facebook is, if you just search for Up the Park, and you'll find the group on there.
It's a little logo, you'll see it when you listen
And
to the
then
podcast.
you can email us if you want at upthepark1@gmail.com.
And that's how you get in touch, so please do.
So thanks a lot for listening, everyone.
Enjoy your weekends, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.